How to stay motivated while going through the anxiety recovery journey. One of the biggest questions I get asked is, how do I stay motivated while I'm part of this journey? There's sometimes I feel like I'm not making any progress, and then there's times where I do feel like I'm making progress. Well, in this video, I'm gonna show you how to not really need motivation and instead focus on something else that is actually a lot better and a lot more sustainable long term. So if you're feeling these panic attacks, these intrusive thoughts, if you're getting these physical symptoms, if you're getting derealization, depersonalization, and you want to overcome this, pay attention, and by the end of the video, I'll show you exactly what to do to stay motivated. Let's get started. So before we get started, if you really want to understand really how to overcome this and how to get out of this, I'll put a link down below to a free report that I've written out that really shows you step by step how to overcome it. I'm not going to really go into that in this video, but this is really assuming that you've kind of looked at the report, you understand how to overcome this. And look, the report is absolutely free. The link is down below. I wanted you to have this because it's something that is probably going to help you on your journey. It would have definitely helped me on my recovery journey. So the link is down below. Now, with that said, really, one of the things that a lot of people experience when they're struggling with anxiety is that they may notice that they're getting better, but there's moments where they feel like all their symptoms come back, or they feel like they're not really making any progress, or they're feeling like they're stuck. And it's very easy for them to lose the motivation again. And so one of the questions I always get asked by my clients and people that I'm helping, and even just in the comments, is how do I stay motivated? And I found that pretty interesting because during my recovery journey, when I was focused on recovery, I didn't really look at it in terms of motivation. I actually don't think motivation is a strong enough motivator, if you could say, to really kind of push you into recovery journey. There's a lot of people that kind of talk about motivation and anxiety recovery, but I've never really connected with that. And the truth is that when I was focused on recovery, I was at such a low place, I didn't even know recovery was possible. So my goal was just to keep getting better. And I had done so many things to try to fix this that never worked, that I just knew that every time I tried to do something to fix this, I would mess up. And so one of the things I learned was, well, I kind of have no choice but to keep going. And so I know that sounds a little bit grim, but honestly, it was the truth. It was like, whether I felt motivated or not, what's the alternative? There's no place to go but forward. You have to keep going. And so that's all it was for me. It wasn't about motivation or, I would say it was probably a little bit more about discipline. Recovery is a lot more about discipline. See, here's the thing. A lot of people do things based on how they feel, right? If I feel a little bit tired, I'm gonna rest a little bit. If I feel really excited and outgoing, I'll do something. But when you're struggling with anxiety, you kind of can't go too much on how you feel because your nervous system is sensitized. And because your nervous system is sensitized, you're gonna be feeling a lot of bizarre things. So you can't really go based on how you feel. You have to focus on what's the right thing to do here. And the right thing is focusing on long-term freedom. Not going into assurance sinking, not going into panic mode, not trying to figure this out, not trying to fix this, but really focused on long-term freedom. And so when that's the case, what's the point of motivation? Whether you feel motivated or not, you still have to do the right thing. And that's what I would focus on more. Focus on discipline, not motivation. My dad told me this really interesting story. It was more of kind of like an analogy that kind of stuck with me. He's like, Shaan, when you plant something in the ground, when you plant a seed, the seed's not motivated to grow. It's not trying to hustle. It's not trying to show the world, look at how much I can do. It's not trying to do this or that or have this hustle, attitude. It just grows. Just does it. There's no major sayings that go through their head. There's no dialogue and stuff. It just grows. And that's kind of how recovery was. There wasn't anything I told myself or this or that. It was just focus on the right steps. That was it. And just focus on what needs to be done right now. And whatever happens in the future, we'll address it. If it is something, we'll address it then. But right now, I'm just gonna be focusing on what I need to do right now. And for that, you don't need motivation. And motivation comes and goes. Recovery journey is a little bit longer. And so if you're focused, if you're doing it based on motivation, well, then you're still responding to how you feel. And that's an issue, especially when it comes to anxiety recovery. You can't really do things based on how you feel right now. Once you get to recovery, once your nerves desensitize, when it comes back to baseline, then yes. But recovery is really a game about discipline. So if you're really struggling with anxiety and you're really trying to get out of this, focus on discipline, focus on the right steps. Turn off this mental drama or this story or this narrative that you have in your head, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's more about what do you need to do right now, what's conducive to your progress right now. And what happens ironically is that as you continue doing these things, even though you don't feel like it, over time you actually really do start enjoying it. When I was struggling, I had a really hard time even working. Just even a regular 8-hour day seemed like running a marathon. And so once I started getting used to that, I would have friends that would invite me to hang out with them after work. And I didn't feel like it. I didn't feel like doing it. And I didn't have any motivation to do it. But I asked myself, what's the right thing to do? What would old Shaan would have done? And the answer was clear. He would have gone out and he would have had a good time. And so what I started doing is I started hanging out with my friends after work. And the interesting thing was I didn't have fun. I still had these symptoms. Sometimes I had a panic attack, but I still kept going out. And what happened was over time, I kind of didn't mind hanging out with them. I kind of liked it. And then over time, I was actually looking forward to it. And then sometimes when I would work, I couldn't wait to see them after. But one thing was clear. Had I not started going out in the beginning, I would have never got to that place. So the goal is that don't feel the motivation and do something. Do it anyway. Motivation comes later. Joy comes later. Confidence comes later. So that's really how to focus on recovery. It's not about feeling something first and then doing something. That's once you're out of recovery, once you're doing a lot better, the anxiety isn't high, then you can do it that way. But when you're focused on recovery, it's about action first. Feelings come later. So anyways, I hope this video helped. If you're really trying to understand more about how to focus on recovery, how to get out of this, the best thing to do is probably doing two things. Number one, following me on Instagram. I'm putting daily advice, tips, tricks, really focused on long-term freedom, not just short-term comfort here. Yeah, really focused on how to get out of this. And so you can follow me on Instagram, and it's honestly the best way to get in touch with me too. I do get a lot of messages, but Instagram, I can see it a little bit more clearly. And then the next thing, if you're really trying to be part of a community to help people, where we're helping people overcome this and go back to living and really seeing success stories and showing you that you're not unique, that anybody can come out of this. Well, click the link down below. It's to my private Facebook group. In that group, I'm putting even more exclusive content that I'm not really posting on any other social media platform. This group, people are recovering left and right. It's incredible. I mean, the stories are just, they're so inspiring. And there's a lot of great knowledge that you can use and leverage for your own recovery journey. Now, when you hit the link down below for the group, it's going to ask you 3 questions. Very important that you answer these 3 questions to the best of your ability. We want to maintain the integrity of the group. We don't want this to be a forum where people are assurance seeking, it becomes toxic, story topping, you name it. We don't want that. We really want this to be a place that fosters people's recovery, really focused on long-term freedom. So if that's you, hit the link down below. I'll see you in the next one.